Claude Code read a 340-page government tax spec and wrote a compliant XML integration in 4 hours. Zero manual edits. If you're a solopreneur staring at a regulatory PDF, you're terrified to misread, where one wrong field gets your client fined. You already know Claude.ai. iChat can't help you here. I'll show you the exact workflow. Point it at the spec, point it at your repo, and let it operate. Most tutorials show Claude Code fixing a React bug. I run it against a live tax authority sandbox, where malformed XML has real penalties. Let's start with the distinction nobody explains cleanly. Claude.ai. I is a chat window. You paste, it suggests, you copy back. Claude Code is different. It's an agent that runs in your terminal, inside your actual project folder, with access to your files, your database, your API keys, and your sandbox credentials. It doesn't suggest code. It writes files. It runs curl. It reads PDFs. It edits your repo. It tests against real endpoints. When people ask what makes it different, that's the whole answer. Claude.ai. I talks about your code. Claude Code operates on it. Now here's the scenario I actually use it for, because it's the one that convinced me this tool is different. A client runs a small invoicing business. Their government requires every invoice to be submitted as XML to a national tax authority. The specification is a 340-page PDF 27 required fields, nested schemas, conditional validation rules that depend on the type of transaction. One malformed field and the invoice is rejected. And if it keeps failing, the business gets penalized. This is the kind of work that used to take a specialist developer 2 or 3 weeks. Nobody wants to read that PDF. Not me, not the client, not any junior on the team. So here's what I did. I opened Claude Code in the project folder. I dropped the spec PDF into the repo. I gave it one prompt. Read this specification. Understand the required fields for a standard sales invoice. Generate pedantic models that match the schema. Write a builder that produces valid XML from our internal invoice objects and test it against the sandbox endpoint. Then I walked away. What it did unattended is the part that matters. It parsed the PDF. It extracted the 27 required fields with their data types and constraints. It generated the pedantic models. It wrote the XML builder. It sent a test invoice to the government sandbox. The sandbox returned 3 validation errors. It read those errors, went back into the spec PDF, found the sections that explained the correct format, and fixed all 3 on its own. If you're staring at a compliance spec, a tax integration, or any workflow buried in a PDF you don't want to read, this is exactly what we build for clients at BizflowAI.io. See real examples of the automations we ship.